public homeschool is just like you just trim the fat off of the public school day, and it's like the detergent you put in laundry. You can either have the liquid, which is a lot of water,
right,
or the powder, which is just the good stuff.
Right.
And homeschooling, and of course, you control what the kids learn and keep them away from all the nonsense. And there's a lot of reasons too. But that's one of them. It's just the time.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah. I mean,
I homeschooled growing up.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I was the youngest of 6.
Okay.
And I was the last. My mom was kind of done by the time I got to middle school. So I went to Covenant, 7th and 8th grade.
Oh, so you're from here?
Oh, yeah. And then I went to Monticello for high school.
Gotcha.
But the majority of my siblings homeschooled all the way through 8th grade, and then went to public high school. So I did homeschooling, private school, public school, and then and then community college at PVCC, and then online Liberty School.
Okay.
So I've hit the buffet of educations.
What's your favorite? I mean, did you enjoy did you like the transition? Because that's what I'm kind of thinking about in regards to my oldest, right? When you get to high school, maybe then go to public schools. I mean,
so I liked the transition. I liked the public school. Now here's the thing, though. That was 20 years ago. Things are a lot different now.
Right.
And so I'm not sure if I would do that now.
Yeah.
Frankly.
Okay.
I wouldn't do that now, actually.
What about a private school?
There's a private school in town that I like, Regents. I think I would send my kid to Regents.
Okay.
I know the headmaster there and a lot of teachers there I know.
Okay.
And they're great. I think they're teaching like a legit curriculum. It's very rigorous. It's very serious. It's a very serious school.
Okay.
There's no shenanigans inside.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good education.
Okay.
I think Covenant's fine too, but Regent at this point in my life aligns with more of our values. I had a pretty interesting experience at Covenant.
Yeah.
But,
okay.
do I need this? Could you tell I'm a little raspy? Is that what? A little passive aggressive here. We have a mutual friend, I think.
JR Hadley?
You know what? I sort of know him.
Yeah.
He's my client.
Okay.
Is he still a client? I think he is.
Hey guys, welcome to the show. We're going to get this thing started here in a few minutes. We have an awesome guest today. This guy's doing a lot of different things. Excited to chat with him. Very successful individual. A lot of plates in the air. And so I'm just really excited to dig into this and see how he's pulling it all together. So we'll be starting this pretty soon. Oh, we're good? Yeah. Oh, sorry, guys. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Today, I have an awesome individual, like I said. This podcast is to bring you stories of individuals who are doing great things, insights, successful people making things happen. And today's guest is Adam Sylvester. Adam is a successful business owner in Charlottesville, owns multiple companies, has his own podcast, and is just really making stuff happen. Excited to bring you on the show, Adam. How are you doing, man?
Thanks for having me. I'm great. Good to be here.
Awesome. Great. Adam, so husband, dad of 4, 2 businesses that you have going on. How do you keep it all together?
That's a good question. Sometimes I don't. It's a little bit harder. Honestly, life is important, and I try not to let business dominate my life. That doesn't mean I don't have nights where I stay up till 1 o'clock and do work and stuff, but I try to keep business in its proper place.
Right.
And so my wife is the most important. Then my kids are after that, and then it's then my business, and then work and church and family, all that kind of stuff. So I want to make sure that I'm not like just a workaholic, because I don't want to be a workaholic.
Yeah.
Workaholic is not good, but I would be if I wasn't like really intentional.
Right.
So.
Well, that's an interesting statement, because most entrepreneurs that I know, they'll get into that groove and they'll just work and forget everything else.
Yeah.
Right. So how do you keep that in line with what you're doing? And you're running a lawn care, right? Charlottesville Lawn Care, right?
Yeah.
And then Charlottesville Gutter Kings.
Gutter Pros.
Gutter
Yeah,
Pros.
So Charlottesville Lawn Care and Charlottesville Gutter Pros. Been married for 12 years. And, honestly, if I wasn't married and have a family, I probably would be a workaholic. I'm thankful for the way my family keeps me in check. Right. And but like single people out there listening, like you need to have a life outside of work too.
Right.
But so like I have some unspoken things. Like I have 2 phones, so I'm not getting texts from clients all hours of the day and night, and at church on Sunday mornings and on Saturday mornings at soccer games. So I have some separation there. I have some natural cutoffs, like 4:00 comes around or 4:30 maybe. I have like things I have to go do. I have to leave work,
right,
and turn the lights off, turn the computer off, and go.
Right.
So my work day is a little bit longer than I wish it was right now, but that's just part of running a business, and it won't be that way forever.
What do you see? Where do you see it growing? And like, how did you? What I want to know is like, how did you decide to start these businesses? How did you decide to go to be an entrepreneur for yourself, right? And grow into that, because that's a big decision on where you are currently in life. I remember when I started, I was thinking about where I wanted to be in life and how I wanted my life to look like, and what I wanted to do. And when I first started out, when I graduated college, I was a strength and conditioning coach, right? I worked at the University of Memphis. I was a graduate assistant. I worked with the football team. I worked with the men's baseball pitchers, and I also worked with the women's soccer team.
Cool.
When I was there, right, it was in Memphis. It was hot as heck. Muggy as all get out, right? And when I left in the morning, and I had workout start at 6 a.m., I had to be there before that to get everything set up. I was waking up at 4 in the morning.
It's a long day.
Oh, waking up at 4 in the morning, making breakfast, walking out to my car. I literally would have to change shirts by the time from walking from my front door to the car door, right? Because it was so muggy out there. It was miserable. It was July, August, September, and it was just horrible. But going to the gym, working out, and doing that all day, and then realizing, man, I did my undergrad in all sports education or kinesiology and stuff like that. Now I'm in here, I'm my graduate, and I really don't like what I'm doing. Like, I turned my hobby of working out and lifting into a job, and now I don't like it.
Right.
And now it's like, holy cow, what do I do now?
Yeah. Can I do anything else? Right. Yeah.
So how did your progression, your story, how did you come across doing what you're doing?
So the difference between me and most people is everyone cut grass when they're little. It's just I decided to keep doing it. so there was a point at which I had to decide. It was 2011, and I had everything broke down and everything was bad lawn care. And I had at the time I was dating my wife, and I was like, man, am I really gonna double down on this and fix the truck and fix all this money, or am I just gonna let it go and go do something else? And I decided to double down and do it.
Right.
And that was a big inflection point for me. I really decided, okay, this is. It wasn't quite full time yet, but it was soon to be full time.
Yeah.
And I just decided, And so then about 10 years went by. Did the lawn care thing for a while. Cut a lot of grass. Got a lot of grass stains. Made a lot of mistakes. And then about 3.5 years ago, I was talking to a buddy down in Raleigh, North Carolina, Donovan, and he was doing big business, doing gutters, gutter cleaning. And I was like, really? So I went down and visited him for a day. Got there bright and early. Met him at Starbucks. He was basically in his PJs. And I proceeded to follow him around for a day.
Right.
And gosh, he crushed it. His crew was awesome. They did clean 10 houses. They power washed a house. They did gutter brighting. They did underground drain flushing. They did all this stuff. And I was like, oh my gosh, what am I doing wrong? So I opened up a new business called Charlottesville Gutter Pros soon after that.
Okay.
And they're both vibrant businesses, completely separate. There's no overlap whatsoever. I'm the only common denominator.
Okay.
And then suddenly one day I woke up and I had 2 businesses. So I was double busy. And it's been a good ride. That's for sure.
Absolutely. And that's an awesome story. I love, because and this is one of the things why I want to do this podcast, right? I wanted to bring on entrepreneurs and show people there's a lot of different options out there to make money. There's so many different ways to make money out there that I think some people don't see, or they got blinders on. They can't see the opportunities. And as you being an entrepreneur, and I'm an entrepreneur as well, when you put this business together and you start making success, you start seeing other opportunities that come up, right?
Yeah.
And so the world just starts to expand. Where I think a lot of people today in life, everything's starting to narrow for them. Right, and as an entrepreneur doing
especially
stuff,
as you get older,
yeah,
for sure.
It's like, and it becomes harder to make that change because now my identity is stuck to whatever I was, right, and it's hard to remove yourself from that.
Yeah, I think that the entrepreneurial journey is not for everybody. I think it's for a specific a group of people that have a pretty strange bent towards difficulty,
right?
And no's, and just like it's a hard journey. And so I think that the business owner, a good business owner, is one who says, okay, I have a lot of weaknesses. And they're not secrets either. Like all my people know what they are and all that. But there's a lot of people out there who are really strong in those areas of mine, but they don't have the entrepreneurial bent. So the beautiful business is a merger of those two things. Someone who's a genius as a middle manager, a genius technician, a genius dispatcher, who wouldn't have a job without the business owner, but the business owner wouldn't have a business without the genius dispatcher, genius technician. And so there's this beautiful dance that happens with business where you're getting people in the right seats in the bus, like Jim Collins says, and you create this wonderful thing.
Right.
The bad thing that happens when one person in that group thinks that they're more important than the other person, and then it gets kind of dicey. But if you can build a business when people who all appreciate their own role and appreciate everyone else's role, gosh, it's a beautiful thing.
And that's building a team. That's putting together the team. That takes another skill set, right? Because we could have somebody that's really good in this, department, right? But maybe they're in the wrong seat, and maybe they need to be over here. Maybe there's just so many things and so many different avenues that you have to look at to make a successful business go. And in the beginning, you are wearing all the hats.
Every single one.
You're doing the marketing, you're doing the work, you're doing the invoicing, you're doing collections, you're doing all of that stuff, the sales. So what were some of the things that helped you in that journey grow, right? What did you hire first? What are the things that you delegated off to help expand?
So I tend to downplay this a little bit in my mind because it's been such a long time running. I don't really give it the value that it deserves, but I'll give the value now. I take it for granted, but there was one podcast I listened to since 2011, early 2011.
Okay.
It was an Entree Leadership podcast by Dave Ramsey. And it was all about merging. It's all about business. And it's all about merging entrepreneurship and leadership. Okay.
Yep.
And I think that podcast, week after week after week, all the principles taught by those guys there, I think that transformed my mindset. It transformed how I went about making decisions. It helped me avoid a lot of pitfalls. I made a lot of mistakes, my own mistakes, but man, I avoided so many because of that podcast and a few others. Man, I'm so thankful for that podcast. It's a book too. It's a whole brand, but I wasn't afraid to let people. I wasn't afraid to hire people and listen to them. I wasn't afraid to hire someone and say, "Hey, what do you think?" Right. I wasn't afraid to fire a client who was lousy, who was just disrespectful and terrible. I wasn't afraid to fire them. I wasn't afraid to say, "Hey, like that's not good enough. We need to do it again." So there were some things that I just learned early on that really makes the business tick.
Right.
And I think I did a pretty good job of learning from my failures because I made a lot of them.
Right.
But I think that. Because the way I view it, I view that podcast I listen to, I still listen to it every week for the last 10, 12 years, is just as a mentor. It's a mentor. They don't know me, but I know them.
Right.
And just a mentor helped me tremendously.
No, this is what I also think. There's a lot of technicians that think they can go out and do it their own, do their own thing, because they can do. I'm going to make an example, right? They can. Let's say they can cut their own grass. They can do that, right? I can cut grass. I do this for this guy every single day. But then, they go off on their own and they don't know anything about the business aspect of it. And then they flounder. Where within organizations that have the structure and have everything, they can actually grow and flourish. They can grow into other opportunities. But the thing with your podcast, I did the same thing when I was starting out. I listened to when I was getting into the real estate industry, I listened to Sean Terry, Arizona. He's a huge wholesaler.
Nice.
Out there, and I literally would just drive with headphones in, and I would just listen to every show that he had, and just learned. And so that was my first mentor getting into the real estate industry, and it was very interesting how it all came apart. Like, we hear things one time and it doesn't necessarily sink in. We hear things a second time and go, okay, I still don't really understand it. But then you hear that thing third, fourth, fifth, sixth time, then you start to know it, right? And then you can like conceptualize when you have your experiences. You go, that's what it was. That's why we do it that way, or just different things. And I'm membership, right? I am involved in multiple groups that with mentors, and basically guys that have done bigger than me. I always try to be the small fish in the group, and learning from those guys that are doing way more than what I've done. And those guys inspire and then also teach, right? And the same thing with your friend doing all that stuff down in that was doing the gutters, right? He inspired. Oh man, I can do this. And he taught you. You probably still call him and go, what do I do with this? Right. And so that's a mentor. We can all have mentors. And I think school did a very poor job of teaching us that we're all in this together, and it doesn't necessarily have to be all on your shoulders. You don't.
Well, school is all about don't talk to the other person.
Right.
Don't raise your hand. Shut up and like. But that's not how life is.
Not at all.
Life is, hey, come help me with this. I'll help you. You help me.
Right.
Farming. If you're a farmer, your neighbor farmer helps you, and you help them. But that's real life.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I agree with that.
Yeah. So you have all that stuff and collaboration and relationships, and they don't like. There's too many people out there also that I find doing business, and they just want that transaction. I don't want the transaction. I want the relationship. I could care less about this transaction. Let's do 7 more, right? Or let's do 20 more. Let's do this for the next 15 years.
Right.
That's what I'm looking at whenever I'm doing business, right? So.
Yeah, well, as a realtor, doing real estate, that is a very, very relationship-driven industry. With our business, ours is relational. There is a transactional part of it too. What I've learned though is there was a point in my life where I would have thought one was better than the other. And now I realize, Amazon is the most transactional business I deal with.
Right.
Freaking love Amazon.
Right.
Right. So transactional is okay, relational is okay, but both have to be done with excellence.
Yeah. Absolutely. So it probably wasn't always easy, right? How did you, what are the pitfalls that you were running into whenever you started growing these businesses?
Yeah. So So early on with my lawn care business, it was hard. There were, hiring people was hard. Cash flow was hard at times. Do I buy brand new? Do I buy used? How far out should we go? Like, what should our service area be? At one point, we were driving like North Standardsville, to cut one lawn for $85. That's not a good idea,
right? Right.
So there were things like that where I was just like, man, but I don't want to let her go. She's like, she's known my family for 30 years, and I can't let her go, right? But I had to. If I wanted to build the business, I had to make some hard decisions, and so. But yeah, like determining what your service radius is, and making sure that you have enough cash in the bank to make payroll. Because I just hated the idea of hiring someone flippantly, and then be like, oh, sorry, I can't pay you next month. I have to fire you 3 months later. That's terrible. I don't do that.
Right.
Go ahead.
That goes to show what type of business owner you are, because then you're also building camaraderie in a team, and when you build a team, then everybody cares for each other, right? Yeah. You can do way more. The culture that you're building, right? Yeah. So a lot of people miss that in building companies, is right. They just want to get people in and treat them like crap, but you're actually building a culture, because now if something happens, you got guys that got your back.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm not the king of that. There's a lot of room for improvement on that part, building the right culture and making sure that, and it's not all about making people happy either. Yeah. I made that mistake too, where I was so focused on being like the cool uncle,
right,
that nothing was getting done well.
Right.
And I hired somebody who was 400 pounds, and he wasn't 7 feet tall. He was short.
Right.
And because he had a driver's license, that's a bad standard.
Right.
Right. Like, do you have a driver's license? You're hired. And so that was a bad idea. And so I've come around to the point now where I'm more comfortable saying, hey man, that's not good enough. Go back and do it.
Right.
Again.
Yeah.
Hey man, that's not how we talk to people.
Right.
You need to apologize.
Right.
Hey man, that's not how we treat clients.
Right.
Hey, that's not okay here. That's not how we do it here. That's not how we do it here. That's not how we do it here.
Yeah.
And I was scary to say that for a long time. I didn't want to rock the boat. I wanted to be cool and comfortable and all that. But what I realized is like average leaders demand not very much of their people, and great leaders demand much of their people.
Right.
And so, do I want to be an average leader, or do I want to be a great leader? If I want to be a great leader, I need to raise the standard really high and call people to that standard, and I need to be at that standard too. And otherwise, what are we doing here? You know?
Yeah. No, 100%. I totally agree with you on that. It's just interesting how like business and life and this is for your kids too. Like we have standards and stuff with our kids. What we will allow, what we will accept, and we make them do what they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
You know, why wouldn't we do that with our business? Because that's basically our baby as well. We want to make sure everything's, doing what we want to happen, how we expect it to be perceived and taken in as a client.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the parenting thing is the metaphor. Mm-hmm. It does come up a lot.
Yeah.
A lot. And I heard a thing recently, about a couple years ago, I heard a thing that changed my life. And it was never let someone talk to you, or never let like people that are direct to you talk to you in a way that you would never talk to your boss.
Right.
Or don't ever let your kids talk to you the way that if you wouldn't talk to someone else that way.
Right.
And so I've gotten better at being like, whoa. I would never say that to my boss.
Right.
So don't you say it to me.
Yeah.
Right? Or hey, don't you ever talk to your mom that way again.
Right.
Ever.
Yeah.
Because I would never talk. You've never seen me talk to your mom that way.
Yeah.
She's my wife.
Right.
And so I've gotten better at like strengthening that muscle of just essentially like having a spine, a backbone. Is what it really comes down to.
But here, we're not all born with that, right? And we have to
Not
develop into that and become good leaders.
Yeah.
Right.
And if you are born with it, it's still immature, and you go too far that way, where you scream and you raise your voice and it's out of control.
Right.
And so both people, whether you're born with it or not, or you are born with it, you still have to make it mature.
Yeah.
You have to like meet it halfway.
Yeah.
And refine it.
You can't be the iron fist and like rule over everybody, and
Right. That doesn't work.
that doesn't work.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Yeah.
That doesn't flow well. Well, so like, where do you plan with what you got going on? We didn't even talk about the podcast yet. Like, what are you doing with this podcast?
Oh man, the podcast. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have a really cool opportunity
Yeah.
to host this podcast called Masters of Home Service.
Yeah.
It's by Jobber. It's a Canadian company.
Okay. And Jobber is
And Jobber is a CRM.
Okay.
It's a software, an app, a robust app that we use to run our companies.
Yeah.
So Charlottesville Gutter Pros has an account. Charlottesville Lawn Care has an account, and it's for scheduling, invoicing, quoting, dispatching, the whole 9 yards, lead management. It's a CRM.
Yeah.
And payments and all that kind of stuff. And they chose me, not really sure why exactly, but they chose me to host the podcast.
Yeah.
Which has been a tremendous opportunity. We've done 2 seasons. The first season was 12 episodes. We filmed those in Nashville, and it's all about interviewing other business owners who use Jobber.
Right.
And to encourage and strengthen other business owners. Basically, it's designed to help businesses be more profitable and more efficient.
Right.
And so after season 1, it was like so good for my business brain because I love talking about that kind of stuff.
Right.
I've been told I have a knack for it at this point, and so it's been a really cool opportunity because, man, to be honest, I'm 35. Mm-hmm. At 35, unless you're really intentional, I don't do a whole lot of new things.
Right.
Right? Like it's not high school anymore. I'm not trying new stuff every day. I'm in my lanes, providing for my family. I'm doing my stuff, this consistency. And so to have such a new thing where like I'm starting from scratch and learning this skill, it's been pretty cool.
Yeah.
So then we did season 2 out in Las Vegas, which was awesome. Blue Wire Studios. We did 20 episodes. and then a bonus episode actually came up too. So we did 21.
Okay.
And that season had some even bigger hitters in terms of business owners, like bigger. Most of them had bigger businesses than me.
Okay.
Which was even better for me because
Right.
I got to sit down with 20 people and talk about business with them.
Right.
Offline at night in the casinos, at the restaurants, I got to talk to them. So pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Really, really thankful for the opportunity. Really sweet.
What are some of the key takeaways that you learn from just listening and talking to those other business owners that you can implement into your business?
So generally speaking, I've learned a couple things. Generally, I've learned that we're all on the same road. Like we've all had the same thing happen to us. Mm-hmm. We've all had the exact same problems,
right?
Just with different names on them, like different faces. But like we've all had people problems. We've all had cash flow problems, and so like, we're not alone, which is nice,
right?
Because it can feel lonely at the top. You know?
As an entrepreneur, staying in your lane, doing what you're supposed to be doing to run your business, it is a lonely road because you're making everything happen, and then you got the kids and the wife at home, and you got to make that all happen. There's no time to reach out to any other entrepreneurs and business owners and have those connections and talk to those people.
Yeah.
You know?
And there's something to be said. I didn't realize this. I didn't see this coming, but I have a pretty good, I'm thankful for the network I have in Charlottesville. I have some good buddies who run good businesses. The Streamliners are one of them. And, but there's something to be said about having buddies that are in like Canada, in Washington State, in Texas, and New Jersey, all over the place.
Yeah.
Who you fly in for the week and talk to them for a week, and then you kind of fly away, kind of like pen pals, sort of.
Right.
Just a totally different perspective, and I don't know. There's both is cool.
Well, and I've done a pretty poor job in Charlottesville area with that as far as reaching out to other entrepreneurs locally. Mm-hmm. But my network outside of Charlottesville is pretty strong.
Yeah.
Right? Because I go to these mastermind events. I'm in these groups that I talk to, like you said, business owners across the country, and we're sharing ideas. We're saying, hey, this is what's working. Yeah. Hey, have you ever thought of this? And coming from different perspectives, different businesses, different things that you can talk about, and it really like gets your mind going. It really like gives you an idea. Oh, well, maybe I can do that. And it also does this. That guy's doing that. I can do it.
Yeah.
You know,
100%.
There's no way I cannot do that.
Yeah.
Right. I could be successful at this. So it really opens up your eyes to a lot of different things. You don't always have to be the smartest out there to make things work. You just have the right strategy, to implement the right things to make it go.
I mean, I heard a stat this morning, actually, on a podcast I was listening to, that entrepreneurs and business owners are 4 times more likely to be dyslexic than like a normal person.
Yeah.
Just because the failure rate in middle school, elementary school, middle school, is high. They can't read very well. They can't spell very well because they're dyslexic. And but man, can they like see a vision?
Right.
And it can and so like if they can refine that skill and mature that, like some of their sharp skills.
Right.
It's interesting to think about that. Like a lot of business owners, entrepreneurs are immigrants from different countries, and they come here and they're like, man, this opportunity is awesome. This country's amazing. Like if I can't succeed here, I can't succeed anywhere.
Right.
And so it's cool to see the makeup of entrepreneurs. A lot of them they face challenges that the normal American hasn't.
Yeah, I just never paid. I hated school.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be there at all. I was always daydreaming about this or daydreaming about that, wanting to be in other places, and never really even tried. I didn't really start reading books until after I graduated college.
Same here.
And I was like, then I found business, and it was like, oh, wow.
What was the first book that you remember reading that you liked?
That I liked? Robert Kiyosaki.
So mine was too.
Yeah?
Mine wasn't Rich Dad Poor Dad. It was the Cash Flow Quadrant.
Okay.
But it's all the same stuff.
Yeah.
So Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean that was that, and then
How to Win Friends, Influence People is one for me.
Yeah. Acres of Diamonds is another one that I really like.
I've heard of
it's
that.
a short read, but it talks about if you don't know about it, it talks about this guy. He wants to go find riches, right? And he sells his farm and does all this stuff, and he goes chasing all around the world, trying to figure out where this next riches are. And it comes back to it. The guy who bought the farm dug up, when he was digging in the farm, he dug up and he found some diamonds, and it was a whole mineral, right at his farm where millions of dollars was taken out. So the moral of the story was, hey, listen, there's a lot of opportunities right here that you're just not seeing.
Interesting.
You know?
And as a fresh out of college guy, that was like mind-blowing for you.
Yeah.
Right?
All that stuff. I was like, man, what is this? Like, why didn't we read Shakespeare? We read poetry, poetry. but I didn't have no interest in it whatsoever. But now I buy books all the time. Let me read this one. Let's see what's going on in things that I'm interested in.
Yeah.
I just never was interested in any of it.
I just bought The Six Geniuses by Patrick Lencioni.
Okay.
And a buddy of mine, actually I bought it last week, and then my buddy Levi saw it this morning at the plumbing supply store, and he told me he just finished reading it this weekend.
Oh, yeah?
And we didn't know that. I was like, oh my gosh, well, I'm going to read it this weekend, and then we'll have lunch next week, and we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
But I don't get to read as much as I used to, because I'm not disciplined to carve out time for it, but I do listen to a lot of books.
Yeah. No, I do that too. That's the quickest way.
Yeah.
I do a lot of listening to books because that's where we get our knowledge from. If we're just sitting there and we just turn, I'm not a sports guy. I played college football. And then as soon as football was over, and as soon as I got out of being a graduate assistant, right? As soon as that ended in my life, I stopped watching. Like I don't know who's on whose teams anymore. It doesn't excite me anymore, and I can't talk about it. There's no small talk about it for me.
Right.
I just really don't enjoy it.
Yeah.
So all of my energy and interest has just gone to business, and then also how to raise my kids so they're not spoiled, and that they have that drive to go out and do what they want to do. Right. And so that's what I focus on.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, the thing is, like, my family is so important. Your family is so important that if your business was taken away today, you'd be okay. You'd survive. You'd be really disappointed. But if your family was taken away today, you'd be devastated, and you might not ever recover, unfortunately.
Right.
So let's make sure that we give the proper weight to those things. So one thing that was really big for me when I fresh out of high school, I did not go to college right away. I did go to college, but later. I got right into sales, selling insurance with my parents. They have a big agency, and it was great. It wasn't quite door to door, but it wasn't quite that bad, but it was hard.
Yeah.
And I'd go to people's homes and sell life insurance, and did that for about 4 years. I'd go to all these conventions and all the the big rings and all the fanfare and the celebrations and the prizes and plaques and $1 million a year and all this kind of stuff. And over and over and over again, all I heard was like, yeah, I make tons of money, but my wife hates me and my kids don't talk to me, and I'm miserable.
Yeah.
And as a 19-year-old, I was like, well, that's not what I want.
Right.
Over and over and over again. And so there have actually been, so I made a decision then, like I don't want that.
Yeah.
You know, and I actually think that's actually to some degree that's a characteristic of our generation. I think baby boomers were guilty of that more so than we are. But we personally, I tend to swing so far that I'm a hard worker, but there are times where I'm like I have a hard time balancing that. Like sometimes I'm like, well, is it family or is it work? And my wife's like, it's work, go. You know, but I'm afraid of like losing my kids, over time, and just being so focused on the wrong things.
Well, we only have so much time with them too, right?
You have 18 years.
Yeah. No, you don't even have that.
That's true.
You know?
You have a 13-year-old, so you know this.
Yeah.
13, he's pretty much who he is.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. It's interesting to see the growth. But yeah, you don't even have that. Now they want to go do stuff with their friends. They want to do that. Now I'm just chauffeur.
Yeah.
But I'm being very aware of trying to keep that relationship open and doing stuff that he wants to do, and so I can be involved, even if it's like nothing that I ever did. So I'm not putting my beliefs on him. I'm letting him become his own man. Yeah. And I can kind of be there. So he joined a karate.
Nice.
It's been, I don't know, year and a half, 2 years, year and a half. It's a year and a half. And so we do that, he does it every single day, but I didn't do that growing up, right? But now I'm fully supporting him in that because he loves it. He loves doing it. He's going through his belt tests and all that, and so is the 9-year-old. And so that, like, I didn't know anything about it. So now I'm learning a completely new thing. Right? Yeah. Just so I can be in their life, and that's what I want. I want to be there. But I did the same thing when I was at Memphis. I was looking at it and going, okay. I was watching the coaches. I was watching how the whole programs across the country, not just where I was. This goes across the country. I never knew how much those coaches worked. They are there all day long, all the time. Yeah. And I was looking at that, and I was looking at strength coaches. And they're quite a bit. Not as much as the football coaches, but they're there quite a bit. But they're also with every single sports team. And I was looking at it and going, I do not want that as my life. And I was 19, you know?
Yeah,
I was
right.
like, this is not what I want. Like,
Yeah.
I can't go on vacation. I can't do this. It's all about this. And then I was like, man, this is my cap pretty much on how much money I can make. Now you're going to tell me I can only cap at this much. And if I want to make, I think it was like 200 grand, I had to be like in a huge program. I was going to take 40 years old to get it there. And I would have zero family life, the family life that I wanted, and raise kids and stay in a solid home, because a new coach comes in, the coach will fire the whole squad, like and bring his whole group in, and so then you're off to another school, and then 2 years later that can happen, and it's just this continuous jump. And I see a couple of I have friends that are coaches, and that's what they do, and it's like, that is not the lifestyle that I wanted. And I'm not saying it's not bad, but I'm just not the one that I wanted. And so I was able to see that at that age too, and I was like, all right, what can I do to make money and still keep the core here and build a solid foundation?
Something I was thinking about recently, talking about our kids and stuff, like you were saying, is like thinking about how much especially I have my oldest is a son and I have 3 daughters. How often does my son see me hanging out with my friends?
Right.
That's important to me, because I want him to know that, like, I have friends. Men have friends, you know, and that's not. I think the baby boomer generation tended not to have they didn't really have many friends.
Right.
It was just generally speaking, and so you know.
Yeah.
And so but I'm realizing I don't remember the last time Jackson saw me being buddies with my buddies, and so I want to focus on that.
Right.
The other thing was, so when we found out that we're having a third girl in Independence Day weekend, we were at Kukuru Chew, which I love. Kukuru Chew is our favorite bakery in town.
Okay.
We walk there on Saturday mornings, and we got like the paint. We got like we took them the card that told them the gender.
Right.
And we asked them, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, we really loved it." So they baked this thing for us, and we opened it up there, and when we found out that we had another girl, everything changed.
Really?
Like in that instant. And Ashley was like, "What do you mean?" I said, "Before it was me and Jackson and Ashley, my wife, and then 2 daughters, right?"
Yeah.
But now we have a third daughter, and now it's just me and Jackson.
Yeah.
We got to be strong. And I felt like it just changed in an instant. And so the next morning, I woke up Jackson early at like 6 a.m. And I was like, "Jack, you want to go fishing?"
Yeah.
And he was like, "Yeah." I want to have those moments
Right.
over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And because those are the moments that we remember.
Absolutely.
Those are the moments that, at least I think, those are the kind of moments that give you the relationship into adulthood that I so desperately want.
Yeah.
That is so easy for me to let go, and just a day goes by and I haven't done that kind of stuff in a while. But man, I really want to be that dad who cultivates that early, you know?
Yeah. No, I think it's very
It's not
important.
easy, but it's worth it.
Oh, it's an investment.
Yeah.
Because you want to invest, you want to be friends with them when they grow up, right?
Right.
You want them to like you.
Yeah.
You know, you want them to be like, you know what, he was a good dad. Like,
He provided for me.
Right.
No one cares about that.
Right. Right.
You know, they don't care. He's
Right.
10.
Yeah. Exactly.
They care that you were with them. So I'm preaching myself right now. Those are the things that I'm thinking about on a daily basis.
Well, I think about it too. My 9-year-old will sometimes he'll grab my hand to like hold my hand to walk across the street, and I'm like, is this the last time?
Right.
You know?
Exactly.
I actually think that, and I like when he grabs it, I'm like, holy cow, is this the last time? Is this it?
Yeah, our kids do so many annoying things.
Right.
That if our perspective is wrong, it's annoying. But if our perspective is right, we cherish those moments.
Yeah.
But when we're tired, we just don't feel like it, we forget that like our role is to be the dad. And that's what dads do. But man, our flesh is so weak, we're so tired. I just don't want to hold your hand. But man, I totally relate to that.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. So luckily we have the 1-year-old, so I know it's not, I got a long time until that's going to end.
Yeah.
At least another 9 years, hopefully. But it's exciting with everything that life brings us, right?
Indeed. Yeah.
It's super open. Adam, thank you, man, for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. It's been an honor. I learned a lot from you. It's really exciting to to hear what you got going on. Like, how do people get in touch with you, with your gutter and with your lawn businesses? Where do they get in touch with you? How do they do business with you? All that.
Yeah. So people can find me at adamsylvester.com. The links to my companies are there. They can also just Google them. But
okay.
So if you want like a lawn care quote or a leaf removal quote right now, or snow clearing in the winter, just go to our website, sevalawn.com. Submit the form. It's simple.
Yeah.
We'll reach out. We'll send you a quote. You can prove it online. It's all online. It's all digital. Payments online. No checks. It's super easy. The quote will come to their phone in a text. Like, it's really streamlined. If they wanted like a gutter cleaning quote, this is the time of year to get your gutters cleaned.
Right.
Gutters cleaned, repaired, installed, drains. We do all that stuff. All things gutters.
Okay.
SevoGutterPros.com. I'm proud to say that we're almost at 450 5-star reviews on Google.
Nice.
We're getting close. We're going to hit by the end of the year.
Nice.
And so if they want to quote, do that, and we'll probably call them as a follow-up just to get a little more information.
Okay.
And then give them a quote, get them booked. There's also, Gutter Pros has an online booking on the website, so that they can actually go in and just book it and never even call.
Okay.
And get a spot next Thursday if they want to.
That's
Well,
sweet.
not next Thursday, because Thanksgiving Day. But like they can look in the calendar and see what our availability is and just choose a slot, like Calendly or something.
Yeah.
And then we'll show up. It's pretty awesome.
Oh, perfect.
So they can use that. But adamsylvester.com, search the companies. Love to serve them.
Awesome. Guys, you heard it. Adam, go check out his companies if you guys want lawn care, gutters done. Check out his podcast as well. It's pretty cool. I was watching it earlier today. He's interviewing some pretty cool business owners on there. And if you're in business, I think a lot of people can learn stuff from that.
Yeah,
well.
I highly recommend it.
Yeah, check it out. Check it out. Well, cool. Again, Adam, thank you. Guys, like, share, comment on this. Really appreciate you guys. And we will do it again next Thursday. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Kyle.